Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we have something a little bit different for you guys. Today we are ranking all of the Uncharted games from least favorite to favorite. And we're going to kind of talk about each game, what we like, what we don't like. We're going to talk about the characters, the plots, the cutscenes, all that good stuff. So you're definitely not going to want to miss this video. And yeah, let's just head right into it. And we'll start with the ones that we haven't played. So Cullen, I believe you have not played Golden Abyss, and the Fight for Fortune card game. Is that right?
Yes, I've not played either of those games.
Okay, so let's go over to your tier maker over here, and we'll put both of those there for you. And then we'll go over to mine. I have not played the Fight for Fortune card game. I never knew it existed. So that's
Yeah, I
gonna
never
go
knew it was
right
a
there.
card game either.
Yeah, who wants to play an Uncharted card game, right? So ranking with your least favorite, what's gonna go in that last slot?
So my least favorite, so it's going to be my number five is going to be Lost Legacy. Now,
Wow.
again, no matter where we rank these games, every single Uncharted game is really damn good to amazing. But Lost Legacy for me is last. I mean, again, probably the best looking Uncharted game along with 4. Best gameplay, probably. Some of their most, I guess you can say, like, strategy inducing puzzles, and it's just everything about the game is crazy. My one problem, I wasn't huge on the open world aspect of the game. Like chapters 4 and 5, like, it was kind of cool. But I felt like, you ran to this place, did a puzzle, you were done. Ran to this other place, did a puzzle, you were done. But I mean, outside of that, this game was pretty good. Playing as Chloe, I thought was really cool, and like the fact that you're playing with Nadine, I thought was pretty interesting. And then I think chapters 7 through 9, towards the end of the game, especially once Sam is kind of introduced into the game, I think that really helped this game, especially towards the end, especially with Sam and Nadine, them, always going back and forth with each other. I thought that was pretty fun. So yeah, no, that's going to be my number five. Again, just because it's last does not mean it's a bad game by any means. It's just something has to come last. So yeah,
For
Lost
sure.
Legacy will be my number five.
100%. I mean, yeah, I agree with all the open world aspect stuff that you were saying. I will bring up the villain. The villain definitely could have been
Oh
utilized a
yeah,
lot
Saab.
more.
Yeah, I mean, Asab, he was sort of a cool character, but he just, again, I think you're right. I don't think he was used enough. And towards the end, he was just kind of out of nowhere. Just, you find him on this train, and then he just kind of like, he just falls off the train, off the cliff, and that's just it with him. But, they could have done a little bit more with him. But again, the game was, what, like a 6-hour game? It was pretty short, so.
Yeah, it was very short. I mean, that last fight isn't horrible. I mean, especially like the aesthetics of it. Like fighting on a
Yeah,
train's
no,
pretty
yeah.
cool. It's just,
Yep.
but yeah, they definitely could have used him a lot more. But I guess I'll go to my least favorite, and obviously I'm gonna be ranking 6 games, as Cullen will be ranking 5 games. So my
Hmm.
number 6 is actually gonna be Uncharted Drake's Fortune, just based on the fact that it is just so, I guess, outdated.
Hmm.
Outdated is probably a good word. I mean, the combat feels, it's probably like the worst in the whole series.
Yeah, for sure.
The melee combat is just not very good at all. Like spamming square or spamming square, triangle, square to do like a brutal combo is, I don't know. It just doesn't really feel that good to use.
Yeah, it got
Uh,
better as time went on, obviously.
for sure. I mean, the more you do it, but I mean, the villain in that game also was kind of weird. Kind of how it did a little spin, and I guess the last
Yeah.
chapter, like the last mission, um, from when when Navarro became basically the main villain, and Roman turned into one of those, whatever you want to call those Spaniards. Um,
Yeah.
that was
Navarro
cool.
essentially turned him into one, yeah.
I mean, kind of a little twist. I didn't really expect it the
Hmm.
first time I played it, but I mean, cutscenes to this day, I know it's a remaster that we played, but I mean, I think they still look pretty good.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, all those remastered games, I mean, they're from
Hmm.
10 plus years ago, and they still look pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be my number 6 is Uncharted Drake's Fortune, the first game in the franchise. Let's move on to your second to least favorite. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so this is going to be my number four, and you just talked about it. That's going to be Drake's Fortune. This game does have a charm to it. I do appreciate, every game's got to start somewhere, and it's not a bad game at all. Obviously, you're introduced like right away to like what the series has to offer, like just instant combat right off the rip. But again, like you said, the game it definitely feels old, which is pretty funny considering like just even Among Thieves came out what like a year or two after this one, so just the jump from this to that is pretty mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, Monk Thieves
But
was
I do like
'09.
the the setting. You're just on like the island and like the jungle area the whole time, and I will say it's probably like the eeriness and the spookiness. As you keep like descending down into the island. Like I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, boss fight with Roman, and then well Navarro essentially was pretty good. And then we can't forget about my guy Eddie Raja, who was, and then I mean his death was like talking about eerie and just frightening, like completely out of nowhere.
Very creepy, yeah. But I do want to bring up
Yep.
one thing when you said the island. I actually think that's a drawback for this game, just because
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
in kind of one spot the whole entire game.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No, I completely agree.
I think Uncharted 4 really masters the whole layout of going back and
Hmm.
forth to different places, and
That's why, yeah, those my top three are for sure my top three because I do like the idea of going to different places. The setting does change,
100%.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
definitely
So that's going to be my number four,
that's your
Drake's
number four.
Fortune.
My number five is then going to be Uncharted Golden Abyss. This is the PS Vita game. Um, Now, the only thing that's wrong with this game, honestly, I think it's too long for what goes on in the game. The boss fight ends up being the guy that you were actually friends with, like from the beginning of the game, and it's just not very fun. It's not very interesting at all. I mean, the storyline seems to kind of just drag a lot. Um, Honestly, Golden Abyss and Drake's Fortune can be kind of tied for the last spot, but something has to be the last. Um, but yeah, again, it's a PS Vita game. It's nothing spectacular. Honestly, the graphics are not that great, obviously, because it's a Vita game. Controls are kind of weird, and that's basically all I kind of remember about this game. I hardly ever played it, um, aside from like one or two, maybe three runs. Um, yeah, it's just not very good. With that being said, let's get into your next one.
Okay, so now we're finally at the top three. So my number three is going to be this is pretty much like the controversial, I guess you can say, game in the whole franchise. That's going to be the third game, Drake's Deception.
Okay.
And game starts, I think it's one of my favorite openings to any Uncharted game. It's just so cool. You got Sully and Drake all like dressed up going to this like bar to go talk to these people to exchange stuff. And then that's where you're introduced to Talbot, who I'll talk about more later. And then yeah, just and then Marlowe as well. I do kind of like how it also goes back in time, where you meet like young Drake. I didn't love that at first, but it ended up being pretty cool. And but so some of the negatives with this game, I'm gonna say, so like the story kind of feeling disjointed at times. So like a little bit later on in the game where you meet, Chloe comes back and then Cutter, and Cutter, Talbot comes out of nowhere, which I'm going to go on a tiny rant about Talbot. I still to this day don't understand him. Like he was this kind of mad magician kind of guy, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was just like, he poisoned Cutter and then just bam, disappeared. Just like then you're like, what? It was just very weird. Just for his death at the end of the game to be super underwhelming as well. But then and then with that, like Chloe and Cutter just kind of disappearing out of nowhere. We don't know where they go, and they never come back at all. That was a little weird. And then same with speaking of like with Talbot's death, Marlowe's death too. Just her just drowning in the quicksand or whatever. I mean, it was kind of funny, but her
Funny,
character too, like
kind of an anticlimax.
yeah, 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 for sure with that ending. But I did like some. Obviously, I like this game a lot. Like I think the changes of setting I really like. The Rubicali Desert was really cool. Obviously, when you hop on that plane with Drake, that's an iconic scene in the franchise. And then you meet like Salim, who I thought was a pretty cool character, and that whole desert area really was a lot of fun. And I thought Aram cool. It was weird, but it was kind of cool. Drake kind of hallucinating, and you think Sully's dead. Like I was convinced Sully was dead towards the end of that game, and then all of a sudden you realize you were just hallucinating the whole time. So I was like, oh sweet, Sully's still alive. But yeah, I mean, again, that was probably my least favorite boss fight in the whole franchise. It was just very kind of. I was like, you don't even do anything to Marlo. She basically kills herself, and then Talbot just you beat the crap out of until he's done. But yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a very good game. I know it's quite controversial for the Uncharted fan base, but I still love it. Again, I love all these games.
For
So
sure.
yeah, that's going to be my number three.
Yeah, I mean, for that boss fight, I would put it just slightly above the Navarro fight from the first game.
Okay, yeah.
Just because it's, I mean, just maybe because of the setting and the
Yeah, and
fact that,
definitely more, I guess you can say cinematic as well.
for sure, I mean, yeah, having to do the quick time events with the dodging and the reversals and all that, I think that was pretty
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
They probably could have done more with it. And going back to what you were saying about Chloe and Cutter, um, when they bow out in chapter, I believe it's 9, at the end of 9.
Hmm.
So obviously Cutter broke his leg when he jumped
Yeah.
off that
Yep.
edge. And I guess Chloe just wanted to stick with him and kind of
Yeah,
also
and
bow
that's
out.
and
Um,
that's the last time you see them in the game.
I think they definitely could have done more with those characters in 4 and even Lost
It
Legacy.
just
Like bring back
yes, it
Cutter,
just
you know?
yeah, it just seems like the game was like a little rushed. I don't know if they had to push this game out by a certain time, like at the time they were making it.
I'm not sure. I think so. 2 came out in '09, and then 3 didn't come out until 2012, I believe. So I mean,
Yeah,
3 years. I think they had plenty of time to
yeah,
do
they were
it.
yeah. Hmm.
But
Well, you got to remember too, they were working on The Last of Us at the same
you're
time.
right. Yeah, yeah. Who could forget
So
that
that's
iconic?
probably a huge factor
Phew,
into why story was a little bit rushed.
just
But
a little
again,
bit.
overall, I still thought it was a really fun game, very enjoyable.
The game's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
and the desert. It's kind of cool. Like you said, the iconic truck scene off the back of the plane.
Hmm.
When he's hanging on there.
The only problem with my whole desert is like when you're just walking, it's basically turns into a walking sim for like a
Yeah.
solid 10 minutes.
Chapter 18 is
Yeah.
so boring, dude.
Oh my god!
All
But then
you do
once you
is walk.
find, yeah, once you find that little town, city, whatever, then it gets pretty interesting again. Especially like I said, once when Salim comes and saves you too.
Yeah, and it is kind of cool that it's like he was walking in a circle the entire time around the
Hmm.
well. Chapter 18
Yeah.
there. That was pretty cool. But other than that, but yeah, it's just walking simulator. Um, yeah. With that being said, let's move back to mine number 4, and that is going to be also Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception. I think we've already covered this, so let's just move on to yours. Number
Okay,
2.
so now I'm at my top two. So I didn't mention it before, but so my number three and four, so the first and third game, I think they're very close. Like I remember, like in the middle portion of three, I was thinking maybe I like one more, but then again, you got to the tail end of three. I'm like, oh no, I definitely like this more.
Yeah,
So they're very close. My number two and number one are insanely close,
yeah, same for me.
like insanely close. So my number two is going to be the fourth game of Thief's End. My God, like the jump from three to this is just astonishing. It really is. Again, just you're introduced to Sam. You get all the flashbacks again from when him and Sam were both younger, and then like the whole prison thing with that. All of that was so cool with like Rafe and everything. So much fun, and then the whole thing about Alcazar, and you're believed that this Alcazar guy is gonna kill Sam just for that to be like not true at all, and that Sam just ended up being a little greedy and just wanted this treasure the whole time. And, I thought that was really well written, and like it's just a kind of total shock when I remember playing it. And just Rafe might be my favorite villain in the whole series. Even I don't think he's really the most intimidating villain, but like just the psychological part with him, it's just like it's like you interact with him and you're like, oh boy, like something is gonna happen, but I'm not sure what.
Right.
And again, towards the end of the game, like when you get to like New Devon and Libertalia, I thought that area was just a lot of fun, so well done. Just this game is just so good. And then again, like the end of the game, where I really thought that was really almost like pretty emotional when like years down the line, Drake and Elena have a kid, and then she's going through like all of his old stuff and finds all of that, and then they go to walk out on the beach, and Drake starts telling all the stories about everything. So yeah, now this game is again like masterpiece, very very good. So that's gonna be my number two.
And I'm honestly shocked that this didn't win your number 1 spot. But Uncharted
Yeah,
4,
it's
you're right. The jump from 3 to 4 was unbelievable, especially because 4 years later, this is the longest gap between a game that they had,
yeah. Hmm.
2012 and then obviously 2016. Um, yeah, just the graphics. I always bring up the graphics, but this
Yeah.
is probably
Hmm.
the best looking game. It's either this
Hmm.
or Lost Legacy. It's very
Yeah.
close. Obviously, because it's the same gameplay, same engine. Um, yeah, with Rafe, I mean, I kind of feel like he kind of hid behind Nadine's army the entire game,
Yeah. I
and
can.
he
Yeah.
he wasn't. I feel like he kind of wasn't the main villain at times, and it
Hmm.
was more Nadine because obviously,
Yeah. But
like you had a couple interactions with Nadine, and you could
yeah.
not beat her any time. With
Hmm.
Rafe, it's just like, okay, here we're gonna have a sword fight, and I'm just gonna kill you in my first try. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But towards the end, that you really start to realize, you're like, oh my, like this guy means business, and like, yeah, it was very easy killing him and everything. But yeah, he was. I don't know, just something about him just freaks me out.
Yeah, like every time you saw him, you knew that something bad was gonna happen. You're
Yeah.
gonna get captured, and obviously, like that cutscene in chapter, what was it, like 15? Right before you go have that flashback, with
Hmm.
young Nate and Sam. It's when he's, I think it gets revealed that he was working with Sam the whole time to get him out of prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the best plot twist of the entire developer
Oh yeah.
studio. Um,
Yeah, and then
between
he
every
pulls
game.
the gun out on him, and then Drake ends up falling off that cliff, somehow surviving. By the way, but anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
because Drake survives
this
everything.
guy just doesn't die, bro.
He can't kill Nate.
He's the
Yeah,
best, man. I mean, yeah. No, yeah, it's a very amazing game, I gotta say.
yeah.
But I guess we'll move on to my number three, and this might be a controversial one. My number three is actually Lost Legacy.
Okay.
Um, I mean, yeah, shortest game in the franchise, kind of like a DLC almost. Um, I did like that you got to play as Chloe, have Nadine on your side. Kind of learn about Nadine's past with Asav. That was kind
Hmm.
of cool. Um, but I mean, I think they definitely could have made this game longer, kind of make it its own full price game.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? Not every game's gonna be top tier. But
Yeah.
it's very good though. Nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah. Again, I think the reason why I have it last, it's very puzzle oriented, which is fine.
It
But
is
I
very puzzle
think
oriented, yes.
insanely, but again, very well done puzzles.
Yeah,
And
I guess we
hard
should have
puzzles
touched on
too, man.
this.
Oh my goodness! Like I had to look up some YouTube videos to help me out with a lot of those puzzles, man.
I guess we should have touched on a lot of these puzzles in these games. I want to go back to 3 for a second. Uncharted 3 has one puzzle that to this day I have not memorized the solution to. And it's that one in chapter 6 when you're at the chateau in France. And it's that one where you
Okay.
have to turn the symbols and like kind of put them on the wall in certain areas.
Oh
Like when you
yeah.
go down in the tunnel with the torch.
Hmm.
Yeah, that puzzle to this day I'm still lost on. So I'm gonna dock a
Yeah.
couple points off the rating for that. Um, but four had great puzzles. I didn't think any of them were very hard at all,
Yeah. No, they
except
were
that
good
one.
puzzles. Yeah.
There was that one in chapter 12 when you're kind of go to that whole new island and you go into that
Hmm.
room where it seals behind you, and you gotta like bring up the statues of the pirates and all that, like four at a time.
Oh, that one took me a while, but I surprisingly did okay with it. But yeah, it took me a while to understand what was going on.
Dude, like 15-year-old me had no idea what I was doing
Oh yeah.
back in the
That's
day.
why I waited until I was, that's why I waited until now to play Uncharted because I was not very good at games like this years ago. So,
Yeah, I remember you always saying that puzzles are your kryptonite.
yep.
Hey, it's not for everybody. But yeah, that's gonna be my number three. So what would be your number one?
So my number one is, well, obviously the one I haven't talked about yet. That's going to be Among Thieves. This game, I think the reason because this and four are insanely close. I think I just because this game is a little bit shorter. Actually, I guess it's almost really a lot shorter than four, but the length of it is just perfect.
Yeah,
You don't feel like there's any fluff at all in this game. It's so well done. The jump from this to the first game, like I said, you just instantly are like, wow.
yeah, night and
Like
day.
starting mission, like again, insane. Like the again, one of the most intense starting missions to the whole franchise. Lazarevich's character as the main villain, he's just a complete badass. Drake! He's such a badass, and you're just like terrified of the guy because he looks like he's gonna just tear you apart. And then again, you're introduced to Chloe, who ends up being a huge character. Really, she kind of saves you a ton in that game, especially from Flynn, which, yeah,
Yeah, just
me and the homies don't like Flynn.
yeah,
Nobody likes
no one
Flynn.
likes Flynn.
And then he ends up kind of just killing himself at the end of the game anyway in Shambhala. But
Yep.
yeah, again, puzzles were good in this game. I love the part where you actually uncover Shambhala and you all go there and just chaos. I think Shambhala is probably my favorite Lost City. It just looks absolutely amazing.
I mean, I would say that it is the best Lost City, just because you get to actually explore the most of it
Yes,
out of like
and that's
any Lost
why I
City in the
think.
game. I mean,
That's why I think again with 3, you don't really explore much of Aram. You just kind of go in, and then you're hallucinating for a while, and then you're fighting like they basically turned into demons while you're hallucinating, which is crazy. But
yeah, I mean, you basically go to Iran just to, you know, destroy it.
yeah, again, the Lazarevich fight was that might have been my favorite villain fight
Hundred
in
percent.
the whole series. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because again, you're terrified. Like I was scared anytime he came close to me. He was just a terrifying guy.
It's the most
But
unique one.
yeah, he's just insane. But yeah, this is for sure. Again, this and 4 are very close, but I'm going to give the nod to Among Thieves. Just iconic in every way.
100%. I guess I should have probably talked about my two first, but my two is also going to be Uncharted 4: Thief's End.
Hmm.
Again, I mean these games are extremely close, 1 and 2. And honestly, it depends on the day I'm having. I think
Yeah.
Uncharted 4 has probably the best gameplay all around, just because
Hmm.
2 is kind of, I guess, clunky in spots. Like the climbing's not the best. The gunplay is good, but it's not Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
The melee combat is obviously not good in 2. I mean, it's basically 1. Um, 4 is really cool. Just like you can drop kick everybody, and you can take down
Yeah.
enemies from ledges and
Yep.
one hit kill
Hmm.
them and all. I thought that was really cool. Um, 4 is kind of another flashback sequences when you kind of learn about Nate and Sam. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Something
I
that they didn't do.
I didn't like it initially, but then I realized how well done it was, and I really appreciated it.
It's funny. At first, I kind of compared it to the MJ missions in Spider-Man,
Oh yeah, and Spider. Oh
where
God.
it's like, oh, do I
MJ.
really have to do another one?
Yep.
But it ended up being pretty cool, and you got to learn about the characters. Um, but yeah, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2, so close, and we already did your number one is 2,
Hmm.
and my number one is also Among Thieves. I just think it's the perfect length. I mean, there's the most chapters, but I think Uncharted 4 is a little bit longer,
Yeah.
just in terms of how long each chapter is. Um, it's so close, these two games. I mean,
Hmm.
really, it depends on the day. Um,
Yep.
Lazarevich's boss fight was really cool with the sap.
Hmm.
You had to shoot the sap to
Like
kind of
running
damage him.
away from him and then having to work shooting those as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the further in you got into the fight, the more like I guess everything would your screen would be shaking and all that, and
Yeah. Yep.
it kind of got kind of eerie, like you were saying. Um, yeah, that's definitely the best boss fight. And as a villain all around, I mean, with Flynn, they kind of threw him to the side, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean that's fine. I
Because he
liked him
was
in the
more of just
beginning,
kind of like he was Lazarevich's bitch. Let's be real.
100%. I mean,
Well, again, that was again another really good plot twist earlier in that game when you uncover what you were looking for, and all of a sudden Flynn's like, "I don't need you anymore, Nate." You're like, "Whoa."
little did you know he did need him.
Yep.
But I feel like, is it just me or all of these games? There's only like one main boss fight. There's not two. Like I think with
Yeah.
2 they could have done a fight with Flynn and a fight with Lazarevich, but
Yeah. I honestly wanted to demolish Flynn. I remember while playing that.
he just takes himself out in a cutscene. Like really?
Yeah, with the grenade. Yep.
Yep. Um.
Which nearly killed Elena.
Oh yeah, I know. That was
Which it's funny to think how much that would have changed the franchise if they would have killed off Elena.
yeah. There probably wouldn't have been a 4. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's. I didn't have this in my script, but let's actually kind of rank the lost cities, like the end game, for each game. So what are you thinking is the
Ooh,
the least good one?
the ooh, I mean, probably Lost Legacy. I mean, did Lost Legacy really have one? Now that I think about it.
Lost Legacy had just like that Tusk area where you got the Tusk. It was that little room.
Yeah, it was just a little room, so I guess we don't really count that. So really, just the first four games. So if I had to go in order from favorite to least favorite, definitely like Shambhala, and then man, it's kind of close with Aram and then Libertalia. Honestly, I'm not. I think I'd lean Libertalia and then Aram. And what was the name of the Drake's Fortune?
That was well, it wasn't really a
Well,
lost
it
city. It
wasn't
was El
again. It wasn't
Dorado.
really a Lost City either. Yeah,
Um, I guess it was kind of like a separate island from the jungle area.
yeah, that's all it really was.
Um, but yeah, I
But
mean,
I will say I still thought it was so cool when in the first game when Navarro takes the chopper up and then Nate just hops on it. I thought that was really cool. But yeah,
that was pretty cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, I would say that the least good, if that's even proper English, Lost City would probably be um, Iram. I would say probably
yeah,
because you don't really explore it at all. You just destroy it.
yeah, that's the thing. Like the one you obviously Libertalia you explore like the most and
That was
everything,
really
but
cool.
yeah, it's yeah,
And even Shambhala. You
yeah,
really get to explore those two. And I would say,
hmm
yeah, the number one would have to be probably Shambhala. Libertalia is
yeah.
close, but you know, again, something has to be the best, something has to be the worst.
Just
And
running
then,
out of Shambhala as the bridge is collapsing, right? That was just
yeah, dude, I remember I was watching you play that game, and you died so
yeah,
many times at
so
that
many
point.
times. Because I would go to jump and then he would just not jump like as I wanted him to, and just kept messing me up. But yeah, no, it was that was definitely my favorite Lost City.
And then for just to close out, what would you think is the best overall story in terms of like sequences?
Um, 2 and 4 for sure.
Yeah,
Um, in terms of story, oh, I'm gonna go with two. And you know what? I'm gonna mention something that we totally forgot to mention about two. The homie Tenson and that whole portion of the game. That was just so unexpected.
Tenzin's the best character in the franchise. I mean, how could we
Yeah,
forget to mention him?
Tenson is sick, dude. Yeah,
No,
no, but again, 4 is really good too.
it's really
In
cool
terms
how
of
in.
like they're,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say they're both pretty much tied for like best story,
It's so close.
which is why they're both my top two games. So
Yeah, and either one could be number one.
yeah,
But I do really like how in four, when you're kind of like chapter four when you're in the attic,
hmm
um, and you're exploring all the treasures that Nate found over the years. You kind of
yeah,
get to go into one of the areas and you pull out the book from Shambhala and there's a picture with
that was
you and
really cool.
Tenzin
Yeah,
in it. That's really cool. Nice little
and
Easter
like
egg
even
there.
just like getting to play Crash Bandicoot, like I
Oh yeah,
Naughty Dogs did such a good job with that because I think at the time they probably thought that was going to be it, and then I mean I guess technically for mainline games it was,
yeah, it was for
but
sure.
then a couple years down the road they did Lost Legacy. But yeah, it was that game was basically an homage to their fans throughout the years, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, it was that was sick. Um, but yeah, there you have it. It is a unanimous Uncharted 2 is the best game in the franchise, and obviously the least favorite one would probably be, for me at least, Drake's Fortune. And I know you
You want
said
to
that.
combine, yeah, because that was my second
Yeah,
to last. So yeah,
I'm assuming that Uncharted Lost Legacy is down there just because it's really short. That's probably like one of the main reasons, right?
yeah, for me, yeah.
They definitely could have done more. But yeah, and obviously we don't talk about the card game because honestly, who wants an Uncharted card game? And yeah,
Yeah.
there you guys have it. That is our official Uncharted ranking. Hope you did enjoy. If you guys did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more in the future. I will have more Platinum videos coming out in the future as well. I have the Uncharted 2 Platinum video in the works. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.